My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
All right, so we're going on to Diddy now. Diddy and Cassie.
I mean, some people say what the information that Cassie released is not the full information. She just released some of the information so that he agrees to do it before she released the more damning informations.
Oh,
That's
The thing is,
that's the
they
reason why.
settled, though, correct? They settled.
Yeah, that's the reason. So let me ask you. Let me ask any one of you guys any question about this. Say, for example, I come to you with this information, right? And I'm saying I need this money, and you refuse to do it. Why did he do it once I released that information? Why did he just agree with? Why would he, the information is already out already?
Hmm.
What would be the point of me agreeing to do something if the information is already out already?
obviously, it runs a lot deeper. There's much more
Yeah,
to it. The silence
That's
is
always
deep.
the question. I think when there's any litigation involved and automatically someone just says they're settling, I all starts of red flags go up for me. Why are you settling? Though I think there's historically people like things to just go away. So there's another side of the coin that I would question sometimes, is settling a part of just making it go away.
but
The accusation.
he would have done it before because they came to him before they released the information. So you would have done it before instead of wait till they put out the information.
I guess he believed he had enough power over her where she wouldn't be willing to go all the way. And the information she put out was enough to say, listen, I am willing to go. So, oh, far, all right, say I released 35% of the cracking. So now here it is. If you don't give me this amount of money, I'm going to release more. And Diddy obviously wanting to protect himself, wanting it to go away, he settled because obviously if someone came out and accused me of those things and it's not true, I would never settle. That would make no sense in settling because I am
Mhm.
admitting to the guilt of these accusations. So I would never do that. Obviously, Puffy is guilty as charged because he practically confessed by
Alleged,
accepting that. No, I
allegedly.
am saying no. In my opinion, the fact
Mm.
that he settled is an admission of guilt. That's what I take from it. So I don't need to allege. I'm just telling you my opinion and my take of it. But here is the thing. What she accused him of, right? She was, I guess you can say, groomed into it, but she was off age. And here's the part I'm gonna ask Tasha. Loxton, was she 17 when she first got with Diddy?
I think they said 19.
19.
So, all right. So she was off age when they got together. I thought she was around him before
Mm.
before that.
No,
So
it doesn't sound like that.
okay. So there was no like Rihanna and Jay-Z kind of situation where it's younger.
No,
Okay. All right. So Diddy, she's 19. Diddy is a grown man. She's 19. We can say that, she's impressionable and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But Tasha, she's of age and allowing Diddy to use her like a rag doll. What's your take on this?
I think it's really important to keep in mind whether, yes, she's a 19-year-old female, but whether female or male, how at that age, how accustomed are we to using our voice, right? And when I say using our voice, that means that when things are happening, how safe did it feel for her to come forward at 19 with, here she is with someone who has notoriety. What does that mean to use her voice and say these are the things that are happening that I don't want to happen? I don't know what messaging she may have received even early on in her life that focuses around how do we use our voice when something is happening to us and we need to speak up about it. And I think that's something that should be considered. And this idea that regardless of the fact she was of age, she was still a young woman, and I don't know what early messaging or narrative she had around what it would mean to disclose this.
so like it doesn't work. It's not as simple. That's what I see a lot of people discuss it. It's not as simple as like, oh, I got with you and then do all these things. It's like it's basically like grooming, even though she's over age, but it's still like grooming. So basically what he did was he signed her to like a 10, 10 album or 10 years or something like that. Some ridiculous thing that basically he's gonna control her career the entire time. So if you look at certain thing and he pursue her, right? If you listen to all the document, he pursue her for a while before he got with her, and like when someone could control you like that, and you already signed the contract already. It's either what you do, what the person wants, or like your career is basically over. That's the way the unfortunately, that's the way the music industry used to work.
It's a power
Now
dynamic. Hmm. That's exactly what you're describing. It's a power dynamic that is a part of, a cycle of abuse.
So basically, he was holding her career as hostage, leverage over her to have her submit to him in every which way, and she basically gave into that and felt powerless. A lot of people are gonna go through
Yes.
stuff like that. I was watching some clippings of what's his name? Justin Bieber. And they had like a montage of clips of Justin Bieber. It's floating around the internet where basically all the essays are like okay when it's Justin, and they show like clips like Justin would go when he was since he came into the industry from a young age, like people would just grope him, touch his face, touch him up and stuff like that. And it's just crazy. It's very, very creepy to watch how many times this child was groped and he had to keep
Mm,
smiling and stuff like that. And I'm just like, wow. And that's on here. God knows what he
mm,
went through off here. Like that, it's scary. So for Cassie and Diddy, the power dynamic, because everybody said Diddy's a bad boy. That Diddy a bad man. Diddy's a bad man. So I'm just thinking like a young 19-year-old, like what power, what could she have to really, defend herself against Diddy? Because it's not just the idea of like, oh, Diddy have power over a career. The fact that Diddy can have you killed. Diddy's a powerful man. Diddy not just blackball. Diddy can have you
mm.
erased. And there's
And
stories out there that you know.
yeah, what I want to say about the Cassie, like if she's like 19 at that time, there's nothing she could have done like to help herself in that situation. Diddy is very powerful. Like he has the money, he has everything. Then like there's nothing she could have done at that time. But we understand like now she is much older. She's grown now. She can stand and like I'm gonna do this. Like free me up. Like leave me alone. Like I'm gonna take you to court. So that's where she that then she didn't have the power, but now she has the power and she have all the information in her corner, all the documents. So now she can take him down, right? So
Okay, okay, hold on. Quick question right there. Why she chose to go the money route and not take him down?
that's another question.
Well, isn't the money route? I mean, regardless of whether he's definitely going to have additional monies, right? Even after, but hitting someone's pocket is a little bit of a takedown, though.
A little bit, but if you have enough information to send him to prison, why not go all the way? If you're trying to say, I'm not saying revenge, but to prevent or to have this person held accountable for what they have done, their dark deeds, why just settle?
the
Why?
system is not that easily. It's not like uh you kill someone or something like that the crime doesn't go away or nothing like it. It's not like that. So it's not as easy to get you arrested for this. This is not like arrestable um thing you did. So it's not as easy to do that.
You're saying there'll have to be a lot of evidence, a lot of to really
Yeah,
prove
like
this. Okay.
yeah, the amount of people recently came out with this new the new thing that they had in New York. Is it New York that they New York State, or is it just New York City? They had a new thing that goes any sex any crime that committed against basically committed against women, uh, the 7 year didn't matter. The statute of limitation didn't matter. You could still bring it up, and they could still charge the person.
Which I think
You-
should be there, because I think when we think about what it is to have to disclose, I think oftentimes there's too much questioning around when, why, and what somebody's disclosing. And when we're questioning the disclosure, we're really questioning someone's experience and their truth. So I think it's great.
So you're saying that is the new thing now, where it doesn't. New York is. I've done away with the statute
no,
of
no,
limitations.
it's not a new thing. It was just temporary. So that's the reason why all these cases were coming out against Puffy or P Diddy or whatever you want to call it. That's the reason why those cases are coming up in New York City. That's the reason why. Remember, this happened long ago, so these cases wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't it?
That was
Okay,
the
and
only.
There was a
the statute.
suspension in the statute of limitations, is what you're saying?
Yes, there was a lot. Yeah, it was like a temporary thing, that, and it was like on the final day they filed all these claims.
Okay, I didn't know. As this news to me.
Yeah, that's the reason why because these things that the one that the lady that, for example, filed against Puff Daddy, that was like 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Like one of them was like 25 years ago. That wouldn't have happened if this wasn't. That was the reason why.
But you have to also remember, because the same thing was used in Donald Trump, and that set a precedent. Because even though there was no conviction, they could the lady sued Donald Trump and won.
Yeah, the sue
So
thing, but I'm talking about putting because
the
that's what you mentioned before. You're talking about why go after his wallet where you could
Mhm.
actually get him arrested. So that's the reason why I was bringing up, like, you can't really get him arrested.
because
You
of the
know,
statute of limitation.
yes,
But
it's
but
more difficult with time goes on to get someone arrested for the R word is really difficult in the first place, and to get someone years later is even, a lot worse. It's not really. If you have good lawyers, like he's gonna have the best
Mhm.
lawyers and everything, like it's almost impossible, to put someone in prison or jail for that.
well, it's not looking pretty for Diddy. I just know that, a lot of us are gonna look at it and say, she was 19 and up, and if it was a man, it would have been looked at a lot differently. That's where the sexism kind of play a role, because it's a female, so everybody's like, oh, fragile flower, she couldn't do anything. But then we say man and woman are equal. Are we though?
Well, I think that if it was a 19, again, circumstances aside, I am, from my standpoint, whether it was a 19-year-old female or male, to me, it still goes back to this imbalance of power that can exist in whatever the circumstances are. And if that power dynamic is in play, then I think whether you're 19 male or female, this could have happened.
I have a question for both of y'all. We haven't seen, well, I haven't seen any cases where males or young men have come out against a woman. Does it not happen?
It happens all the time, but I think the thing is that, again, when we're thinking about gender, men are often conditioned early that, I mean, in somewhat that's a rites of passage, right? So I think some of the experience, this is my opinion, and the research really also says it, a lot of some of the early, what would be constituted as negative experiences that men have, how they internalize that and how they interpret that is very different. So a young man who may go through something that someone would deem potentially traumatic, if because it was an older woman, they might not interpret it so, and then subsequently it doesn't get reported as such.
You know,
Yeah,
I and not to laugh, but hey,
Okay.
as boys, as men, a older woman coming on to us. let's say I'm 15 and a 26-year-old woman, wanted to have, stuff. And then for us, it's like, if she's attractive, yeah, yeah, and we wouldn't look at it as nothing. It's like, you hear that story, it's gonna be like, yeah, man, that's what's up. But for a woman, it's a lot different.
Even if they're not attractive and they was giving you something, you would still look at it as like, oh, you know, you still be like, a guy would still look at it like, oh, she's giving me all this money just to do that. It doesn't really look at as the same thing.
But
It,
it's the
it definitely not.
conditioning. It's how you all get conditioned from early.
But
We're not,
but
Tasha. We're
what do
not.
you
We're
guys?
not conditioned. We're not conditioned, Tasha.
I
This
might
is all we.
disagree with
This is all. No, I'm just saying. You might think it's a conditioning, and I'm telling you, it's innate for us. It's not conditioning
that.
because
Okay.
we,
Hmm.
as men, right? For it's for us, we're hunters when it comes to a woman, right? So we're the
Hmm.
one who go after women. We're the one that do everything to get women, the protector, the provider. Everything we do as men, our entire life surrounds woman, getting woman. That is our sole purpose on this planet. We don't have any other purpose.
But
So
see, the innate part, I actually do agree with you. Everything you just this hunter's verse, I agree with that part. What I'm saying though is the conditioning around what's acceptable and what's okay is different.
yeah, I agree with that, but
Okay.
I'm explaining to you why it would be that case because us man, right? So I am talking to my son. So I have
Mhm.
I have my son. My son is I'm 14 now. So I have a 14-year-old son, right? And let's say, obviously I don't want to go older woman taking advantage of him, right? But let's say his first experience was with a 25-year-old woman, and he came to me and said, "Daddy, this 25-year-old woman had, whatever, whatever, whatever." Um, I wouldn't be looking at it the same way if my 16-year-old daughter coming to me and telling me a 25-year-old man with her is totally different because I'll be
I
looking
mean,
at it different.
but I would still be mad though. I wouldn't be. I mean, we conditioned it when we were younger to be like that, but now I'll be mad about it. I wouldn't want the same thing for my son.
Absolutely. Agreed.
You would
But
so you wouldn't
no,
He's
I
want it,
wouldn't.
taken
right?
advantage of. He would have
But
been taken advantage of.
and that's true. But here's the thing: while the father would not want that, right? Here's the thing: the son may.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
but they
the
don't know. This is the kid. You see, this goes back to me not agreeing with certain things that kids can make certain big decisions for themselves. I don't think they can.
they should not be
When you
allowed to.
that Yeah, when you that age, I don't think you
You
change your
shouldn't.
mind all the time.
You
So
don't have enough insight. At
And,
14
yes,
and,
or 15, you do not have enough insight or wisdom to really be able to distinguish from long-term consequences, the good or the bad. There's just not enough insight.
yes. So they're making life changing
Sure.
decision. It's not really a good idea. But what do you guys think about what if it was a man and a man trying to do that to a young boy?
and that is where, obviously we're gonna have a different opinion, because we look at life a lot different from, say, people who are, well, nowadays people, or most of people nowadays, that are more fluid when it comes to sexuality and gender and stuff like that. For me, definitely it's far worse. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? A woman taking advantage of my son sexually, right? I'll say that's a 5 out of 10, right? A man, that's like 100 out of 10. So maybe I'll just have it in my mind a different way. Like, yo, it's totally different.
Yeah, I'd be more mad if it was a guy. Yes, but I was still mad. I was still upset about it. But I would be more upset if it was a guy. Um, Yeah, but I do not like when like when child being abused, like boys when they're being abused and people make fun of them about it. I'm not really in that at all. I know people on the internet especially like to make fun of people that they don't like, that been molested or something like that, and they really, some people really, don't mess with them. They would still make fun of him, about it. So I'm not really into that either. I'm not really into, like Dr. Umar Johnson. He says, Terry Crews should have punched that guy in his face. You know, what do you guys think about that? Should he have done that?
Sure.
My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
To all my Jamaicans, yard and abroad, get ready for the My Dream podcast at the Dream 2024 podcast coming in January. Get ready, get ready. Subscribe from now. My Dream, my dream. Yeah, that's the podcast coming to you, covering all topics when it comes to Jamaica, dancehall, reggae, entertainment, life, relationships.
You know my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me say
2024, the thing now got normal. Subscribe now.
look at me now, when them